I get asked all the time, multi-pin sight or a 2-pin sight for outdoor shooting or tack events, and I have to go with the dual pin. Honestly, I could probably get away with 1 pin, which is what I always shot during my competitive years. However, at the tack events, especially when some of those targets are stretched out, having that lower pin gets you that extra yardage that really helps on the range. So people ask why the difference between one and the other, and to be honest with you, the more that I've done it, the more that I've actually liked having not only the clearance, but just having less clutter in there and all the different pins, just because as my bows have gotten faster, the difference between my pin gaps has really tightened up, thus giving me, on my hunting bows, my top pin is 20, my bottom pin is actually 39 something. So I've got 20 really to 40 or even 50, I've got pretty much memorized and ready to be on the fly. But for the tack events, having less clutter in there has been really nice for being able to aim on target. Now, one of the things that you'll find with the NEs is that we not only have this, multi-ring aperture, we also have a single. So for the tack events, I go down to the single just because I can go to then a little bit smaller peep sight, which kind of helps me in my alignment and improves accuracy. But you also do get a little bit different arrow clearance. So if you're fighting for every last yard you can get, the smaller this ring, the closer you're going to be able to get it down to that arrow. Now, if you are a multi-pin hunter all the time, then I do think there's a time when you're really judging yourself on accuracy and am I improving in my hunting versus wanting to fully understand and know your hunting setup. Now, if you're shooting a tack event just prior to a hunting season or a hunt that you're going on, and you usually use multi-pins, then I would say take the multi-pins to the event and practice how you play. However, for me, the tack season kind of falls in a nice window of the calendar to where I have another 3 weeks before I really go on my first hunts. Now, because of that, I'm able to go from a multi-pin or a dual pin to a multi-pin and still have time to really make sure it's part of my habit and I'm seeing the overall picture that I like. However, if I didn't have that time and I was a multi-pin shooter still, I would probably shoot that multi-pin throughout the whole season just because I would know I didn't have a window of break. Now, one of the takeaways that I have as a competitive archer is that once I started using target archery gear, now for me, I went full target and then had full hunting, but as I've matured in my archery career, I've realized that it's kind of easier for me to have a hybrid for my training and target stuff that's very similar in a lot of ways to my hunting setup so that there isn't this big conversion from target season to hunting season. I'm really just wanting archery season. So I change a few little things, and one of the things is poundage. And I've also, because I've gone up in poundage and my bows have naturally gotten faster because it's a new cam system, my pin gaps are much tighter than they used to be. So before, when I was having to use a 2-pin sight and my top pin was 20 and my second pin was 33 and then my level was barely 40, that wasn't good enough for me to be a whitetail hunter in the woods when my pin gaps were that big. But once I was able to have top pin 20, bottom pin is 39 and a half. Well, now I've got, 20, aim on, 30, split the pins, 40, aim on, 50, top of my level. So I have this quick system to where even though I only have 2 pins, I'm able to still utilize this housing no different than if I had that multi-pin sight. Now the one downside that you're going to have to the multi-pin sight is that since you do have a bigger overall carriage, a lot of times you'll find that your clearance isn't as good as if you had that smaller aperture. But that's what I shoot and the whys, and hopefully it helps you in your decision on what you're going to take out during the off season.